Hey there guys, how are you? Welcome back to another awesome video, and it's time for another TV show review. And today's TV show review is going to be of The Mandalorian Season 2. So The Mandalorian Season 2 is obviously the second season in the phenomenon and phenomenal show that is The Mandalorian. And then with this season, we not only expand upon the galaxy and expand upon this universe, but also we have Mando himself going around with Baby Yoda and he's trying to find another Jedi to basically take him in and train him and help him maybe use the Force. So with this season of The Mandalorian, well, real quick is I'm going to mention huge spoiler alert, because I'm going to drop some names and drop some references and drop all sorts of stuff that if you have not seen season 2 of Mandalorian, make sure you stop the video right now, pause the video, go check it out. It's literally, it's the same amount of episodes as season 1 was, which was like 6 episodes, something like that, 12, I think, something along those lines. So it breaks down like as a mini-series, or not really a mini-series, it doesn't feel like it. Point is, you can go watch those episodes, watch season 1, watch season 2. We're going to talk a little bit about both, more of season 2 than season 1, but point is, spoilers here. Make sure you pause the video, go check it out, and then come back and we'll check this out. So, with season 2, it is very like season 1, which I only reviewed the first episode of season 1, and I didn't plan on doing a whole thing about season 1 of Mandalorian at first, but then I was like, you know what, I want to at least touch upon season 2. I was like, since season 2 is big, and since, not that everyone else is talking about season 2, but I want to put out my whole big thing on season 2, put myself out there too, because I love talking about Star Wars stuff, and I haven't gotten an opportunity to really talk a lot about Star Wars things, so let me at least plug this in and say, hey, I like Star Wars. Star Wars was one of my big things I grew up with, and it's a lot of things I do mention it a lot, but I never have the time or opportunity to really go and sit and say, hey, this is what I love about Star Wars, and this is that, and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so with like season 2, like with season 2, we saw in season 1 is each episode is it's under the hands of Jon Favreau, but each episode is written and directed by different directors and even different actors. Like the first season did, and the second season does the same thing, with Jon Favreau directing his own episodes here and there, Dave Filoni, from people like Peyton Reed, to Carl Weathers, to Robert Rodriguez, to even Bryce Dallas Howard, and also to other names that have showed up in this show. They do direct an individual episode. And season 1 was definitely a phenomenal show. It was definitely a phenomenal season. I will touch upon that. Season 1 was great, and it kept it in its grounded syndicate world of The Mandalorian and everything. But season 2 obviously expands upon it, which is good. It expands upon the lore of not just Mando, but the whole galaxy, and getting more ideal of obviously where Star Wars is after Return of the Jedi, since it's still after Return of the Jedi. And of course, this one does do a little bit more member berries, I will say that. And yeah, it's definitely there for nostalgia, but they use the member berries as, like, they do serve a purpose. And it's really good too, to not only just see these characters as nostalgia, but they do fit so well in the world and in these episodes. From the Darksaber, to Bo-Katan, to Ahsoka Tano, to Boba Fett, which we'll talk a lot about more later, to freaking Luke Skywalker makes an appearance in the show, and also the other names drops, and Admiral Thrawn. Like, holy shit, I still can't believe they name dropped Admiral Thrawn, which we'll get into in a split second. But yeah, Admiral Thrawn, they mentioned all sorts of characters and all, but let's get back to our main characters. Obviously, the Mandalorian himself, Mando as he's nicknamed, Din Djarin as we found out his actual name is in the first season. So we find out that we already know by now. And Pedro Pascal at this point is just so great at this character and fleshing him out. And I love that, like I think I pointed out in the first episode, and I've noticed in the first season and even in season 2, is that he knows how to really convey such great emotion for a guy that we barely see his face. And we do see his face here and there, and it's no surprise what Pedro Pascal looks like, but it's still the idea of how many times he rarely takes off his mask, because he believes in that as a Mandalorian, he's like, I don't show my face. I don't show my face at all. I don't convey it anywhere near the public eye. I only convey it to my personal self when I'm basically getting change and doing personal things, like, let's say, like I said, getting change or doing whatever stuff, you know? He does it on, like, when it's just him and not anybody else. Other times, no siree. But he just does it so well by showing, just, like, you don't even see his face, and he knows how to give such great emotion, and it's so really fantastic, and it's something really just, had to been impossible to do, but Pedro pulls it off so well. And obviously we see our returning characters like Carl Weathers, we see Cara Dune, we see Gina Cario. I'm so sorry, especially just how fantastic, how fine, and how badass she is, so I'm sorry about that, Gina. But seriously though, Gina Cario, Carl Weathers, Bill Burr is back, and he has a phenomenal and very, like, deep episode, and a very badass one as well. We see, obviously, Baby Yoda. Now we confirm that his name is Grogu, so there's that name drop there, and we do get more of this idea of him as this sort of, like, how it works in the sense of he's 50 years old in Yoda years, but he's a child, he's a baby in human years. Kind of like how dogs are, where they're a certain age in dog years, and they're a certain age in human years. Grogu works the kind of same way, which is interesting for Yoda's species. And we still don't know where he kind of came into place, basically, but we do get an idea that he probably survived the Clone Wars. He survived Order 66, as Ahsoka does mention, and we do see other faces like Ming-Na, who's cool, we see again, and also the other appearances and other characters that look very cool, and they feel very fresh and rich out of this Star Wars lore and out of the Star Wars universe, and the practicalness, the combat, the effects look phenomenal for a show like this. And even the guest stars, like we have people like I said, we do see Bill Burr again, we see like actors like John Leguizamo, and obviously we have the characters that are the big deal of the show. And I don't feel this is character of the week sort of season. I felt they were very fitting for the show and for each episode, because they could have easily had everyone come back each episode. Like for the finale, they could have easily had everyone that we saw prior to the finale, like Bo, Katan, Ahsoka Tano, and everybody show up for that episode, but they still kept it very subliminal, and they've kept it very simple and simplistic, and that's what's really great about this show. And not only that, but the fact of this brings us back to what we love most about Star Wars, and all things Star Wars, and how it felt, because this feels very like the first season felt like a very spaghetti western, old school style, like western show with a gunslinger, with a no-named gunslinger. And now we go to season 2 and it feels more like that Star Wars feel of the sort of like samurai-esque, like these fights you'd see in a Japanese movie or in a samurai film or in a kung fu film. The choreography is fantastic in this season, and how practical and well this is so done. Just, I still I know I'm a bit late on the whole season 2 train. I know that for a fact, but better late than never, number one. Number two, I at least wanted to rewatch this a second time to get like full on like fledged thoughts, because first time around I was like blown away. I loved each episode and it kept getting better and better and better and better and better. Same thing for me for season 1, but then I rewatched it, and then yeah, it might have a few like, okay, this one wasn't the best, this one wasn't the best, but they feel a lot stronger this time. This season does feel stronger, and I feel in comparison, and sort of to give it a good analogy, although I haven't had the opportunity to do this, but I will say this, is that this reminds me of how I feel about The Flash, in the sense of the Flash TV show, where season 1 was really good, it was a good start, and it was really fantastic. Season 2 ups the ante in a good way, and it does it so compelling, so emotional, but also so epic. See, I feel like Mandalorian does the same thing for me. Season 1 was phenomenal. It was fantastic. It was epic. But then Season 2 really ups the ante. And not just because of its the character of the week, cameo of the week, whatever you want to call it, member berries. But like I said, the member berries do fit the story. It's not they're just going, hey, remember that person? And they just shoehorn him in there just for whatever nostalgia's sake. It does. You feel the weight. You do feel the story. Point I'm making is this season felt stronger. And let's get into the whole characters that we all heard of and the drops and everything else and everyone that we were both familiar with. So we have real quick Bo-Katan, played by Kate Sackhoff, which was a great casting choice because she's returning as her character in live action form. Great to see those more of the Mandalorians and exploring the idea that, hey, not all of us Mandalorians believe in the idea that, hey, we gotta conceal our faces. Like, there are those that take off their helmets, and even Mando's kind of like, you are not part of this religion, because he sees the whole Mandalorian, keep, your face conveyed as this, that's his belief. And Bo and her squad are kind of like, no, I mean, some people used to believe in that. That was kind of like the old ancient beliefs of Mandalore. Now it's kind of more like, okay, you have the helmet, you take it off, you gotta at least breathe and catch some air here and there, dude. So that's where she's coming across. And like I said, to have her return, because she was the original voice actress of Bo-Katan from Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, is great, and it's very satisfying too, because it makes sense. She wants the Darksaber, and the Darksaber at the end of Season 1 was great, and that was something I didn't expect, and how that plays into Season 2 is even greater than it was the first time, obviously in Season 1. And then I know I will point this out that Moff Gideon isn't the most compelling villain, but I feel he does fit that antagonist sort of role, and he fits that sort of stature of this admiral. He probably fit along the lines of, in terms of Star Wars villains, like the rankings of Grand Admiral Thrawn, or maybe Grand Moff Tarkin, or maybe even Krennic, Orson Krennic, I think his name was, from Rogue One. He would fit in that sort of area of that he's the right amount where he's not obviously going to be the next Vader or anything like that, but he's right there along those admirals, in my opinion. I can never say the guy's name. I think his name's Carlo Esposito or something. I'm sorry if I butcher his name. He's a great actor, and he does a fine job playing his antagonist. And I do like the idea that he does use whatever his idea, or whatever he's gonna do, what he had planned for Grogu, using his DNA for a donor. Whoever this donor is, we'll see. There's been speculation, but we'll see for Season 3, hopefully. But I do like that we saw the Dark Troopers. They were really awesome, and they were more like Terminator-esque. They were more machine-like, which kind of makes more sense, because we can't have clones. We can't do clones anymore, so why not trust machines a little bit more? And like I said, those Terminator vibes are really badass. But the Darksaber was really cool to see, and Kate Sackhoff's back, so that's really awesome. Rosario Dawson, I think, is great as Ahsoka. I know she's getting a bit of backlash, and then people are like, oh, Ashley Eckstein should have had some sort of say in it, or blessing, or whatever. But I think Rosario made sure she got her blessing or her consent from Ashley, because Ashley Eckstein being the original voice actress of Ahsoka in Clone Wars and Rebels, and how beloved that character is. I think she brought the character to life. I think Rosario brought Ahsoka to life. She obviously doesn't have that voice, but she does bring that character to life, and you can hear, not in her voice, but you can feel the tone that she's trying to go for that. She's trying to obviously be like, hey, I want to not try and be like Ashley, but I want to at least give you guys those vibes of, hey, this is kind of like Clone Wars Ahsoka. This is this is like Rebels Ahsoka. But she's older. She's more wiser a little bit. She's definitely been around the corners here and there, and it was really badass to see her pull out her lightsabers once again. And now, I think what I'm going to do is I would save the best for last, but I want to kind of jump to this already just to kind of get my thoughts on this just a little bit kind of quicker. And that is, so I was in the finale, we were thinking along the lines that maybe Grogu sent the message to Ahsoka and needs of that, hey, maybe you can come back, and then maybe Ahsoka was going to train Grogu. But no, she doesn't train Grogu. And instead, it's obviously we get the big this is almost iconic. This is going to be a very iconic scene years later in the future, and that is obviously Luke Skywalker showing up and coming back to the show, and this is like Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker, and you could see it because of how powerful he is, with how much power he showed in that sequence. Obviously, people compare it to the same sequence in Rogue One with Darth Vader, and you can see the similarities because obviously you see that is Anakin Skywalker's son, how powerful he's become, how much wiser he is, and yeah, yes, it's Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, but it is that deep fake sort of like CGI de-aging effect, and it looks fine. I wouldn't be surprised if Disney all of a sudden says, because there's been a few complaints, I'm not going to be surprised if Disney goes, let's kind of change it up and tweak it up just a tiny bit, like a special edition sort of feature, maybe later down the line, since Disney's doing updates and revising and re-editions and all these other things and adding special things to their films in Disney Plus, like little messages here, a little scene here, a little scene there, whatever. They did it for The New Hope, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do it for Mandalorian. They just kind of just tweak his effects just a little bit better, but I'm fine with how he looks, and I like the scene, and not only that, but that was such a phenomenal season finale, and just that almost had me in tears because yeah, it's Grogu basically going with Luke Skywalker, him being trained by Luke, and now he's basically got to leave Mando, he's got to leave Din, basically kind of like a father figure to him, and that moment of when he takes off his helmet that was so surprising because he's in a room with everybody and he just decides, you know what, and I like how I want to point this out here is I like how Din pulls a Darth Vader with Grogu, where Din takes off his helmet and he does the whole, I want to look at you with my own eyes, kind of like Vader did in Return of the Jedi before Vader died in Luke's arms. Instead, it's Din, Djarin, Mando going, I want to look at you before you leave me, and before I may never ever see you again. And especially with now, I'm stuck in this situation for season 3 where I got the Darksaber, and how are me and Bo gonna fight over this, and how is this gonna work? We'll see. But point is, he takes off that helmet and he says, I want you to see who I am. And then as a final goodbye, that brought everyone to tears, and that almost brought me to tears. Just, I did not expect that. And still rewatching it, I still almost getting choked up a little. So I loved that a lot. And it's such a surprise because Peyton Reed doing not only the one with the snow spiders, ice spiders episode, sort of like almost like horror elements, like almost kind of like alien vibes it gave, but the fact that he did the finale was even more astounding, and the fact that he pulled that off is fantastic too. Because I never would think Peyton Reed could pull that off, because people are like, okay, yeah, Peyton Reed, who did the Ant-Man movies, yeah, all right. But then once he pulls off this finale, people are like, wow, what a great fucking episode, that's for sure. So props to Peyton Reed and all the other directors that have directed each episode, with Bryce Dallas Howard directing the one with Bo-Katan, Dave Filoni doing the one with Ahsoka Tano, and Robert Rodriguez doing the episode with Boba Fett. So let's talk about Boba Fett. And I have a lot to say, because we've been obviously speculating the idea of maybe should there be Boba Fett, should there not be Boba Fett, and part of me was like, yeah, we should have Boba Fett, then part of me was like, no, we shouldn't have Boba Fett, but then I feel like Boba Fett, along with all these other characters, should be used very subliminally. Very simple, very little bit of it. So when we got that Luke Skywalker cameo, I think that was just the right amount of Luke for the show. I don't think we need to see him for season 3 or season 4 or see him in like 5 episodes, 10 episodes, see him the entire season. No. That I think was good enough. Maybe give us another scene, like, so that way we can kind of see like, oh, how are Luke and Grogu doing in terms of training? But other than that, don't keep going back to Luke. Maybe have an episode or one brief moment or a mention that Mando's like, oh, I've been keeping tabs on Luke, and Luke tells me that Grogu's doing great as his training. Kind of like checking up on his so-called, like, his child almost in a way. So at least do that. But use these characters very wisely, and I trust Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni to use these characters very little, because they're not gonna go, oh yeah, we're gonna have them in there. We're gonna have them in the show like constantly, and then especially since Ahsoka's getting her own TV show, so I think that's great to explore. And also, Grand Admiral Thrawn being the name that she drops is still mind-blowing to my mind. And I could see a certain Benedict Cumberbatch, perhaps, maybe, just maybe, if Disney wants to. We could see Robert Downey Jr. as Admiral Thrawn. I would love that for sure. That'd be fucking awesome. One of those two would be great, since I don't think Benedict's going to be doing a lot with Doctor Strange, and Robert Downey Jr. is done with Iron Man, so I think those would be fantastic right there. So that would be pretty cool. So, and especially we're going to probably see him, and we might have maybe mention of Ezra. We might know where Ezra's going now, or where he's been. But I love that, because I did not expect that. And I'm going to say it like everyone else has. I was expecting Ahsoka to say, oh yeah, where's Moff Gideon? But no, she goes, where's Grand Admiral Thrawn? I was like, I dropped my hat, I dropped everything. I was just like, I can't believe that just happened. Like, Disney, you've made Admiral Thrawn canon finally, in more or less in the universe, and I love that. Thank you, because they've kept him uncanon for a while, and now I think we're gonna have him canon. But back on track with Boba Fett. Robert Rodriguez directing Boba Fett, and so we were thinking the idea of, okay, Boba Fett, and then I thought, you know what, let's use him wisely, let's use him very literally. And to have Temuera Morrison come back, I think was really great for him. I think that was awesome. He hasn't done that much. Like, he's done some supporting roles here and there, but for him to come back to, not the character he's known for, but he had a part in being the character of Boba Fett, and obviously many other people have been a part of that character too, like the original actor who was the original costume actor guy, Jeremy, I want to say his name is Jeremy Belosh, and then there was even another actor named Jason something who voiced Boba in the original edition, and then Temuera, when he played Jango, then having to do the special edition stuff. So my point I'm making is Temuera definitely was a part of Boba Fett. So to have him come back was great, and we thought, okay, yeah, we thought we were going to see him in the first episode, because we do see the Boba Fett armor. That was the Marshal, who was played by Timothy Oliphant, which was kind of cool. I like that. And the Krayt Dragon, badass. That was a really good start to the season. But when we saw Boba at the end, that just blew everyone away, because we finally saw Boba's face, even though we knew what he looked like, but just that still was a big deal, and that still is a big deal. And just him coming back, and he just came in such a badass way, with him wearing his old armor, and just I love the score. Ludwig Garrison is fantastic with season 1's score and season 2's score, and I love the composuring behind Boba Fett's score. His theme is so awesome. I love hearing it almost every day, and just it gets me so like pumped for Boba Fett even more. But just what they did with him was so epic to have, and I think it was very smart too to include him in this way, because yeah, Mando had Boba Fett's armor, and Boba Fett came back looking for his armor, and just seeing him just go full on beast mode was so even more, and add more to what made this character why we love about him, and that he was this mysterious badass, but now he's twice a badass because of this. And yeah, I'm gonna say it because I wanted to save Boba for last, because the book of Boba Fett, that's gonna be an even more of a big deal too, because that was our first credit scene we ever got in a Star Wars related thing, to have a post-credit scene, because Star Wars never does the post-credit stuff. Marvel does, DC does, but not Star Wars. And to have Boba do that and show up, kill Bib Fortuna, and then just sits there in Jabba's palace and living in luxury, teasing of what this Boba Fett show is gonna be, just has me so intrigued. Season 3 already enough has me intrigued. Now you're gonna have a book of Boba Fett TV show too, and they saved that rather than spoiling it at the Disney Investor Day. Was very smart on Disney's behalf. And I just still love that, and that just has me intrigued on where this is gonna go. If he's gonna bring back, if he's gonna be the rise to crime, if Boba's gonna be a crime syndicate, or if he's gonna basically take over the Hutt clan. Like, what is this gonna mean, and what this will mean for the Mandalorian as well? Just, it's got me so filled with questions and so much curiosity, and obviously to keep our Star Wars fixed on for Disney Plus, we have this show coming out of this year, this December, this year, and then probably by next year we'll get season 3, which I love that quite a bit. But I honestly loved season 2 a lot. Sure, it's because of all these characters coming back and nostalgia, but in the end, they were served their purpose really well, and they were done right. These characters were done so well, and some characters from TV shows coming back were done justice, either as good, if not justice, as they were in their animated counterparts, and especially just everything as a whole. And I love where this went, and I'm really curious to see where this goes. So I'm gonna give season 2 of Mandalorian a 10 out of 10. I know that's pretty much saying I love Mandalorian just as much as everyone else, but hey, I couldn't help it. I wanted to talk about Mandalorian for a little while. I've talked about it here and there, but I really wanted to get into season 2 before the Book of Boba Fett and before season 3 and anything else Star Wars related. So thank you guys so much for watching. And what are your thoughts on season 2? If you hate the show, let me know what's your thoughts. If you don't hate it, let me know what was your favorite part about season 2, or what was your favorite thing about season 1, or which did you prefer, season 1 or season 2? Do you prefer the kept in its almost like a grounded sort of world, or do you like that we expand upon it? So let me know your thoughts. What are your opinions on season 1 or season 2? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, if you liked the video, please smash the like button. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I do awesome videos every day, if not every week. And make sure you ring that bell to be notified. I do new videos every day, if not every week. Share the video with your friends, all that good stuff and more. And leave some suggestions in the comments as well in terms of reviews, top 10s, all that stuff and more. You name it, I'll look into it as soon as possible as I can. I'm going to try and do a lot. I'm making sure to try and get back to my channel, rise up a little bit in terms of my content, in terms of me as a person, and dealing with personal things and everything else that's going on with me, trying to rise up and kind of rise from the ashes a little bit stronger, trying to at least do that and at least have some sort of feeling of hope in a sense. So thank you guys so much for the support. Apologies if this has gone for way too fucking long, but I had to really get into deep and dive into some things. So thank you guys so much for the patience and actually sitting down and watching this. I hope you all actually sat through it. So make sure to check out more videos. I'm gonna have more reviews that are gonna be coming soon. A lot of movie reviews, and I'm gonna have a comic review as well, hopefully done soon. Maybe we'll see, give or take. It depends on what I'm gonna be doing these next few weeks. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.